The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
The New York Jets are faced with a ton of difficult roster decisions. In today's Jake Asman Show, we're going to break down what we think should and what we think will happen on cutdown day. It's the Jake Asman Show. Big announcement to start things off, so let's hit it and get it started.
Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season. Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Brees Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time, New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jet fans. Before we bring on my pal Gunny Gumby from NY Jets Situation Report, I got some news I want to share. Ladies and gentlemen, we will, in fact, be having a Week 1 Monday Night Football watch party at T Squared Social in New York City. It is a free event. Party starts at 7 p.m. If you want to come out and watch Aaron Rodgers and the Jets against the Niners, RSVP with the link in the description for this video you are watching right now. Let's go, baby. Let's go. RSVP with the link in the description. If you're watching live right now, I posted the RSVP link in the chat. It is a free event. It is the first of 4 confirmed regular season watch parties we have. Week 1 being the biggest, the granddaddy of them all to kick off the Jet season. We will also do Week 2 against the Titans. That is a Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff. We will have 2 other games later on the season as well. But what you need to know, it's free. It's going to be a blast. Ask anyone who went to the preseason watch party. This fan base is ready to go. T Squared Social, located in Midtown Manhattan, right next to Grand Central Station. So you can take the train from Jersey, Long Island, Westchester, Connecticut. Let's go, baby. Can't wait to see you all at T Squared Social when we watch the New York Jets go 1-0 on Monday Night Football to kick off the season. Joining us right now to kick off this show is one of my good friends, one of the great content creators out there covering the Jets. We say hello to our guy, Gunny. Gunny, what's going on? Appreciate you joining us. Gunny, you're on mute.
Rookie mistake.
There we go.
My bad. That's on me. That's on me. What's up, man? How you living, brother?
Man, I'm good. I'm excited for the season. And, you and I were talking off air before we got started. I can't remember the gravity of roster decisions the Jets are facing as far as having too many good football players. In the past, these, it's like, well, the Jets, obviously they're searching for players 45 through 53 at this time. Now it's like, okay, maybe 51, 52, 53, but they're all really good options they're deciding between.
Yeah, man. It's crazy to see how we've gotten to this point, the complete 180 that is this Jets organization in terms of roster makeup. There are going to be individuals right now who we're going to have to cut that are going to have meaningful minutes on other rosters in the NFL. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think we're in a position to where, although I do love the new makeup of it, right? Have everybody on the roster, no intermediate cuts throughout the preseason. You got to make your final 53-man roster right before the season kicks off. I think it's great to get a lot of film on tape for some of these really, really talented guys who tend to go unnoticed. But at the same token, it kind of sucks, right? Because then as Jets fans, now we've fallen in love with some other players that we know are going to potentially not be Jets come Tuesday when they make the final cuts. But what a problem to have, right? What a situation to be in, because a couple years ago, we would have been the individuals waiting for teams to cut players in order for us to finish out our roster. I don't look at this roster right now and see any scenario, any situation where you can find somebody that's going to get cut that can be more impactful than what we currently have in the building. It's an incredible problem to have, man. Incredible problem to have.
And it's just like specifically at like premium positions, man. Like, you're talking about defensive linemen that I think some of these guys the Jets are going to end up having to cut. They're going to be not just like claimed by other teams. They might have roles right away on other teams. I think that's how impressive some of these guys have been, Gunny.
Yeah, 100%. And this is why I was very, very keen last night on being verbal about some individuals that we cannot risk putting on the waiver wire to potentially sneak into the practice squad. I think what you've seen from this defensive line specifically, the cornerback room specifically, the running back room specifically, there's so much depth at every position group when it comes to those groups. It's insane to think that, like, if we let go of somebody, they're going to be getting meaningful minutes and meaningful reps on another team. And one team right now that I know could use some defensive line help specifically is one of our rivals, right? The Miami Dolphins. And I know those guys have been watching what the New York Jets defensive line have been doing. So I'm really, really concerned about who we wind up letting go to maneuver and go ahead and get to the final 53. I'm really hoping that the guys that we've all kind of fallen in love with make this roster. And we can sacrifice one or two guys that really haven't been pulling their weight, in my opinion.
Yeah, no question about it. Now, when it comes to the roster decisions, we'll start offensively because I think there's less there than there is defensively as far as the gravity of decisions. To me, offensively, it really comes down to how many running backs are you going to keep and how many receivers are you going to keep? Because if you're going to keep 4 running backs, I think Izzy is on the team. If you're keeping only 3 running backs, Gunny, then it becomes interesting what you do with Izzy, because I do think if you release him, he's getting claims, so you got to be comfortable losing him. I personally don't think the Jets will be. And they're not going to keep Izzy for a while, but I mean, what more can the guy really do in the games, right? He went out there and each week he looked good. He went out there and did everything you could ask him to possibly do to make this team. He is a draft pick, which I think certainly helps him in the eyes of this general manager. Your thoughts on Izzy Abanikanda and whether or not he makes the team?
Yeah, man, I was also team, man. Izzy has been real. After we saw what Brandon Allen looked like and Isaiah Davis looked like, I thought to myself, yeah, Izzy's definitely the odd man out. He kind of had a slow start to training camps. We weren't really seeing if he had shown any kind of improvement from last season or if he regressed. But let's be honest, man, you put the pads on the kid and you put him out there, he's found another layer of physicality to his game that we haven't seen from him before. He's more physical. He didn't lose any burst, and he put on the show in the preseason, right? Like 9.8 yards per carry last night. And that was against the second team defense of the Giants. I think he's made an argument to where you got to keep 4 running backs. We kept 4 last year, so it wouldn't shock me if we kept 4 this year. I think Izzy kind of brings a different layer to our running back room. I think you've got the all-around backs and Brees, all-around backs and Braylon Allen. You've got the bruiser and a guy like Isaiah Davis. If you look at Izzy, man, he's that scat guy, that burst guy. But again, from what we've seen over the last 2 preseason games, he's willing to go ahead and put his shoulder pads on and run through people if he needs to as well. Him bouncing around from individuals to get to that touchdown yesterday, I mean, the Izzy we know just a couple years ago would have just gone down first contact. So I think Izzy has played his way onto this roster. I'd be very shocked if we didn't have 4 running backs make the 53-man roster.
If you're watching live, I ask you the question I asked Gunny. Do you think Izzy Abanikanda makes the team? Write in your comments to that. If you got any questions for Gunny or I, make sure you write that in. If it's a super chat, you will, in fact, cut the line. All right. Let me simply say this about Izzy as well, Gunny. 21 carries this preseason, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6.1 yards per carry, no drops, no fumbles, no penalties. If he's not going to make the team on that, It's not his fault. It's just a numbers game,
fault.
right? He did everything he could possibly do to earn a spot.
Izzy deserves to be on a 53-man roster. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But we talk about, again, how talented this Jets roster is. And unfortunately, a dude that talented is literally on the roster bubble, which is to tell you a lot as to how far this team has come. Because I think, like you said it perfectly, Izzy couldn't do any more this preseason to go ahead and prove that he's worthy of being on a 53-man roster. And honestly, this is the kind of guy who's flashing RB2, RB3 opportunities on most other rosters in the NFL. So, again, great problem for us to have, but to think that a guy like Izzy is on the roster bubble is something that we could have only dreamed of just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it really is a testament to what he did, that he made it interesting. Because let's be real too. It felt like there was some momentum for Tariq Cohen to be on this team. He was showing some juice. We know about his special teams prowess with the new rules, and he retires, and we're like, oh well, Izzy's got some new life, and he took full advantage of it. So credit to the kid from Brooklyn, New York, Izzy Abanikanda, for doing what he did. Hit the like button if you're tuned in right now. We got 335 people watching. We'll take some calls on the Gusbuster Umbrella hotline coming up. Let me get to a super chat or two here and a channel member, and then we'll get to some of the tough cuts on defense. Ray Nagy checks in. He just became an Asmaniac the old-fashioned way, baby. Thank you, Ray. And Ray, I know you ordered some merch. I received a notification from my merch website that you entered an improper address. So if you could shoot me an email, Ray, I'm glad you're tuned in. I want to make sure we get your merch situation situated as quickly as possible. So thanks for signing up. And I know you bought merch, so make sure you shoot me an email, asmanjake@gmail.com, and I'll make sure we take care of your merch. Got to get a proper address from you. Doug checks in with an Asmaniac super chat. He's been a Asmaniac for 11 months. Thank you, Doug. Have not been able to watch live in a while, but hope you have an amazing Sunday, and go Jets. Doug on the couch. We miss you, my man. We miss you. William Sprague checks in. Our guy William, who I believe he said his brother is part of the Little League World Series, his brother's town. So William's checking that out today. So safe travels, William. Starting week 1, I pledged 10 memberships for every Jet touchdown. If the Jets win the Super Bowl, I will donate $20,000 to the Jake Asman Show. Let it be written. Let it be. William, from your lips to God's ears. Super Bowl chance, baby. Please. Tennessee.
That's big time.
With a super chat. For a long time, we used to wait to pick up cuts. Now they are waiting for hours. This team is ready for takeoff, and we got the players for it. Gunny, you said this exact point a couple minutes ago. It's spot on, right? In the past, the Jets needed to rely on other teams' players to fill out the roster. Now, not even just this year, last couple of years, we're seeing it being completely different.
Yeah, and I've already gotten a couple of calls from my brother who's a Steelers fan, right? A couple of my other brother who's a Dolphins fan. They're asking about our defensive linemen. Who do I think we're going to keep? Who we're going to cut? They're literally fans of other teams that are reaching out to me are like, man, listen, you guys can't carry all of them. Who do you think's going to go ahead and fall out? So I know there's fan bases keeping an eye out for our players once they get freaking cut. So I can only imagine GMs are doing their due diligence as well to go ahead and add not only depth, but quality depth at that with what we've been able to put together on the defensive side of football.
Yep, no doubt about that. All right, now as far as the defensive situation now, Gunny. I mean, how many defensive linemen do you keep? I mean, there's so many guys who I think went out there and they earned a spot on this team. The problem is, one, Hassan Reddick is still not with the Jets, so that's one spot on the defensive line. And two, I mean, are you able to keep Braden McGregor, Tack McKinley, and Leonard Taylor and Eric Watts? Probably not. You're definitely keeping Michael Clemens, it appears. We could debate that one, Jet fans. But, man, it is really tough when you break down the Jets' defensive line without Hassan Reddick to figure out how many they're going to keep and specifically which ones they're going to keep.
Personally, I'm on team let go of Clemens. I really am. I understand the value he brings in terms of special teams, man, and he's had a couple of highlights for us in that aspect over the last couple of years. He does play well when it comes to stopping the run, but he's limited. I think we've all kind of seen it. I think we've kind of seen what he's going to be. I think what we got from him his rookie year might be his ceiling, really, is what we're going to get from him as a ceiling in terms of a defensive lineman on this roster. I think if you wanted to stash somebody on the practice squad, he'd probably be the guy that you can stash on the practice squad. The way McKinley's played, the way freaking Taylor has played. I mean, I'm looking at my McGregor's play. I don't know how you keep Clemens on there unless you're willing to let go of let's say Watts, or maybe a guy like Fotu, right? Another run stopper. I just think in terms of pure freaks, McKinley and Taylor and McGregor, I just feel like you got to keep those guys on there to add them to the rotation, because not only do they go ahead and provide assistance in the run game, but they can get to the quarterback. You saw the pressures. You've seen them get into the quarterback all preseason. And I know some people are going to say, well, it's preseason. Nah, they were doing this against some starters in terms of offensive line starters. So these guys are proving themselves against what teams are going to trot out there as their number one O-lines, number two guys at worst. So at this point, I'm personally over the Clemens experience, right? Love the bark of the guy. I don't think he's given us enough bite. And I think he's the kind of guy that you could probably sneak onto the practice squad. Whereas these other guys, I don't think Taylor, I don't think McGregor or McKinley doesn't get claimed. I know McKinley right now, he's a vested agent or a vested veteran. Veteran. My bad, vested veteran. So he has the option to. But I think in terms of, he looks like he's the kind of guy who would say no, he's going to be a Jet based off of what you've seen during the press conferences. He's really, really emotionally connected to his coaching staff and in regards to what they've been able to do for him. So you could maybe bank on that, but money talks. And I think a team right now who's in need of some defensive line help, they'd pay the man, more than we could, and he might have to make a decision. So I'm hoping that he stays, man. For me, it's Clemens. I think if we could get rid of Clemens as being the guy, we could go ahead and sneak those new guys into the building. So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see. I think Clemens could make a practice squad if we let him go, but he's the guy I look at, and I'm just like, I really hope we don't make the mistake of risking one of those guys we've seen ball out all preseason and keep a guy like Clemens on this roster.
Yeah, he didn't even play last night, so that tells you his spot is safe. So I mean, maybe they could trade him in order to try and keep someone else, but it seems like they like Clemens, so they're going to bank on the fact that last year they told him to gain weight. They said that was a mistake. They admitted that publicly. He's back at his weight they want him to be at, that he was around his rookie year. So maybe that will get Clemens to be the player we saw year one rather than what happened last year. But it's going to be difficult. But you look at like the roster makeup, right? It really depends on how many defensive ends and how many defensive tackles you're going to keep. I think the locks at defensive end are Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald. I still think it's Clemens. And I think Tack McKinley absolutely has played himself on this team. We know Jeff Ulbrich loves him. He's a guy that it makes sense why he's actually good, right? It took him a while, but he has first-round traits. Yeah. He had 13 sacks his first 2 years in the league before it all kind of fell apart, and he talked about it last night. He got all emotional, said he needed to go to therapy and get his life back on track. It's a great story, and you're certainly rooting for him. I think he has played himself on the team, Gunny. So if you're keeping Jermaine, McDonald, Clemens, Tack, then it really comes down to Braden McGregor, Eric Watts, and Jalen Holmes for probably that one final defensive end roster spot. And then if you look at the defensive tackle situation, how many are you keeping there? We know Quinnen is a lock. Kinlaw is a lock.
Kinlaw. Thomas
is a lock, so that's 3. I think Lakey Fotu is a lock. That's 4. I mean, I think Leonard Taylor has to be on this team. I mean, you talk about a guy with upside, former first-round graded guy a few years ago, 5-star recruit. He's got to be on the team. So if you're keeping Taylor, that's now 5. That would leave like Tanzel Smart, Bruce Hector, and Jalen Twyman out of the defensive tackle room, which is fine. I think you got to keep 5 defensive tackles based on how well Leonard Taylor has played.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. And that's why I think, because I know they're not going to get rid of Fotu, and Thomas has been a building block in terms of not just his performance on field has been good, right? But he's also a leader in that locker room. So for me, I think you've got to find a way to keep Taylor, man. You've got to find a way to keep McKinley. And I'm not going to lie to you, man. This McGregor kid, man, he's giving me – people are going to think I'm crazy for saying this, and it's not because he's a big white guy that's tatted up either, but he gives me Max Crosby vibes. The dude's motor is nonstop. And he's very, very violent at the point of attack. So every time I see him play, I'm like, man, like it's like if Max Crosby had a little brother, this is what McGregor reminds me of. So I kind of want to see this dude get an opportunity to get into the rotation as well. Another guy with freaking very, very violent hands, incredible burst, really, and he's very, very strong at the point of attack. So again, it's a problem to have, right? But again, a good one. But when you go through those edge spots, right, Hassan Reddick, I don't even have on my 53 man. I was looking at mine right now while you were talking, and I have Hassan Reddick potentially being like in the inactive, right? So like he's not counted towards that slot.
Mm-hmm.
But what if he shows up this week?
Right.
What if he decides like he's seen enough and he's like, man, they're not going to pay me. Those guys look like they have all the help they need. Let me get in on this, and he shows up. Now you further complicate the situation because you're going to have to lose another quality player, another quality young guy potentially, to go ahead and get Hassan Reddick into the building, man. So great problem to have, but it does suck to be at this position because do we take it out of maybe the cornerback room? Do we go 6 cornerbacks by 7 maybe? Like you have to start doing freaking the math. It's an incredible problem to have, like I was saying, but it really is a problem though because the Jets are going to lose some quality guys here relatively soon.
Hit the like button if you're tuned in. We're talking with our pal Gunny Gumby, NY Jet Situation Report. Tuesday nights, Gunny. What time is the show? The benchmark show that you're a part of?
Hey, the Hangar Hangout every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central. Come hang out with us at the Hangar. We talk everything Jets, right? We have guests. We have open mic night, so to speak, so everybody can go ahead and jump on and kind of give their breakdowns of what they're thinking. 2 Tuesdays from now, we're going to be doing our New York Jets Situation Report Fantasy Football Draft live. So that'll be a fun time. You get to see a lot of individuals. It's just me and fellow fanatics just like you guys. So, yeah, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Central, the Hangar Hangout. We don't miss.
You mentioned cornerback, Gunny. You look at that, the roster decisions there. Sauce, DJ Reed, Michael Carter, Brandon Eccles, Quantez Stiggers, Jarek Bernard, Converse. Now, Converse injured his groin, but Salah said that he should be good for week 1, so I'm counting him as part of the 6. After that, I know we all like Brandon Codrington, and he's flashed on special teams. If I'm keeping Izzy, which I now am, I can't find a spot for Codrington. I hope I can maybe stash him on the practice squad, but there is a risk someone claims him who saw what he did this summer on kickoff returns and punt returns and says, hey, that guy could be our returner. But, like, that's the situation they find themselves in because if I'm going to keep Izzy and I'm going to keep, 10 defensive linemen, I might have to pay the piper and lose a guy in Codrington if I feel comfortable in Gibson and Corley as my 2 primary returners.
It's crazy you say that, right? Because as I'm looking at it, like he's my cornerback 7 on my 53-man roster. But as we're talking back and forth now, I'm thinking to myself, as much as he's flashed, right? And again, a guy like him becomes extremely valuable because like you just stated, we've seen what he can do with this new special teams rules, right? He's been an impact guy in the preseason on being able to go ahead and break open some nice runs and switch field position. And that's going to matter, especially if you're a team thinking about playoffs, thinking about freaking being a contender, being able to go ahead and flip the field position in your favor goes a long way. And he did that for us, in the preseason. So again, it's great, right? That, you get to go ahead and play these guys in the preseason. You get to keep them all on your roster. You don't have to worry about doing any cuts until like a week and a half before freaking the season kicks off. But what sucks is everybody is now looking and can see all these individuals, right? Back in the day, you could potentially like cut somebody a little earlier and hope, right? People would hold off on the next round of cuts. You can bring them onto the practice squad. You had ways to kind of like finagle it. But now it's going to be a free-for-all. Everybody's getting cut between now and freaking Tuesday. Everybody has fresh memories of Condrington doing his thing in the preseason. So he becomes one of those guys that you would like to hope makes a practice squad. But again, I'm with you, man. I don't think we'll be able to sneak him on because the ability, what he's done with those special teams touches brings value for a lot of rosters in the NFL.
Matt has an Asmaniac super chat. He cuts the line here. Thank you, Matt. Long car trip and from Hilton Head today and last Sunday. To and from Hilton Head. Wow. Thankful for a lot of Jake Asman show to pass the time. Turn my dad into an Asmaniac. Matt and your dad, thank you guys for watching the show, listening to the show on your drive. And Mr. La Femina, welcome to the world of Asmaniacs, man. We appreciate your support. Hopefully you guys hit them straight at Hilton Head. Yeti with an Asmaniac super chat. He writes in, I'm glad Tenzel got to showcase his talents. I don't think he's a Jet anymore, but he'll be in the NFL. The interior is deep. Appreciate it. Here's the thing. He could be a guy that bounces back and forth from the practice squad and the active roster if there's injuries all year. We saw that last year. We know the Jets love him. He loves being a Jet. I don't know how many teams are signing Tenzel Smart to their active roster, but, I mean, here's a guy that if he's on your team, he's not a bad football player. Like, that's how deep the defensive line room really is, Gunny.
And he's a good dude, too, on top of that, right? A high character guy, right? You know what I'm saying? He gave us the Carcucci board freaking reference last season, right? Like, this is a guy who loves football and he does it for his family. I'm a personal fan of Tanzel Smart, but I also have him being a guy we potentially stash on the practice squad. I'm with you. I don't think a lot of teams are gonna look at him and think like, man, that's the dude I want on my 53-man roster to replace another key position. He's a nice rotational piece on the interior defensive line. He is, but I don't know if you would consider him to be a guy that's going to necessarily be worth literally a 53-man spot as they're opening up people's rosters. If that makes any sense. He's a great depth piece. I like him where he's at. I think he's a safe pick to make the practice squad for us. But again, like Eddie just said, it wouldn't surprise me, though, if a team that needs defensive line help stashes and snaps them up. I mean, there's some teams right now in our own division who are going to be struggling when it comes to their defensive line. So it wouldn't shock me at all if they take a guy like Tanzel Smart and give him a shot.
Give me your thoughts on the linebacker room, Gunny. To me, I think there's 5 guys they're keeping. It's Mosley, Quincy, Sherwood, Zaire Barnes, and Chaz Surratt. I think they make the team. I mean, maybe Sam Aguavian has an outside shot. I know the coaching staff likes him, good special teams player, but I think at linebacker, they're going with 5. I have them taking 6 corners and keeping 10 defensive linemen. What say you with the linebacker room?
I got 4. I got 4 linebackers. I got C.J. Mosley, Quincy Williams, Jamie, and Sherwood, and I got Barnes edging out Surratt for that last spot, right? I know they love Surratt, but the guy, as we all know, has struggled with staying healthy. I think because of that, we can go ahead and see him sneak to the practice squad. And Sam Equivoan, he's done some things as well to go ahead and get some notice. Another individual I think makes the practice squad. I don't know if those 2 individuals, I would stress too much about them getting snapped up. For a 53-man roster spot. I don't think they've put that much more on tape that would make anybody who's watching Jets preseason games like, oh, man, that dude, I got to get him on the roster. So I actually think those 2 guys, Sam and Chaz, are going to make the practice squad. But I got Zaire Barnes taking up the 4th spot for us, and I only got 4 linebackers making the 53.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to try and squeeze someone else on the team. There's no doubt about that. We're going to get to more of the offense in a second. We talked about Izzy, but I want to get to the tight end room and the receiver room in a second. But Paolo, with a super chat, he says Adrian Martinez should make this team, right? I think he's on the practice squad as the 3rd quarterback, Paolo. I just don't see the Jets using a roster spot on Martinez.
Yeah, same here, 100%. For me, I got him as my QB3 defensively, but he's a practice squad guy. I don't think they're going to carry him on the active 53-man roster.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone's going to claim him either, so I think you'll be able to put him on the practice squad.
Yeah.
Alex Levine checks in. Is there a player on another team's cut list that we could stash on our practice squad? I think it's kind of a good transition here. I am not sold on the Jets' current wide receivers. I think if there's a veteran that gets cut and they think could be an upgrade over Brownlee, over Herb Charles, who I don't have making my 53-man roster right now, I think that is where the Jets can maybe look to add someone, right? I think if you look at the receiver room right now, I think we have probably 5 definitive locks in that room. Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, Alan Lazard, Malachi Corley, Xavier Gibson. After that, it's Herb Charles, Jason Brownlee, Lance McCutcheon, Brandon Smith, Isaiah Winstead, Tyler Harrell. Brownlee, to me, is like the borderline guy because he's made some plays. He's also had some drops. He's a bigger dude, made the team last year. But I could see the Jets, Gunny, adding someone to that receiver room that's a veteran that gets cut by Tuesday at 4.
If there was any position group right now on this roster where you look at, you're thinking to yourself, after the main guys, the depth you start to get a little bit uneasy about, is definitively the wide receiver room. And I'm with you, man. I don't have Brownlee making the 53-man roster. I think Brandon Smith, if they were going to go ahead and keep a big man that can go ahead and give you those contested catches and be more consistent, I think Brandon Smith kind of proved he's that dude if they're going to keep him. But I'm with you, man. I think after Malachi Corley, between Irv Charles, Brandon, and Brownlee, like, you're looking at guys who I think are very replaceable. And if you're going to go ahead and look at any other freaking team across the league and look at their freaking cuts, I think wide receiver specifically is going to be what we're keeping an eye on. I don't think they're done with it. I don't think they're happy with it. But I don't know if you caught the little nugget, but a little birdie said that, Devontae Adams is starting to feel some type of way about the direction of the Oakland Raiders or the Vegas Raiders. So maybe they're keeping that potential last spot for a specific individual. Who knows? But the wide receiver room is the only room where I look at and I'm thinking to myself, man, one, knock on wood, we can't lose Garrett. I don't think anybody can replace what Garrett can do in regards to our wide receiver room. He's running back one, no ifs, ands, or buts. I think you've got a really good 2 in Mike, a good 3 in Allen Lazard. You push Allen Lazard down to a 3. You're happy with that. Malachi Corley, I love the pick. I really do. But again, the Yak King, you really haven't seen him show us that thus far in the preseason. Again, these are bigger, faster NFL caliber players. So maybe it's going to take him some time to go ahead and get acclimated, which is fine by me. I still think the kid has a high ceiling, but he needs to refine his route running, which he's done a lot of. You've seen him come a long way from the beginning of training camp to now. So Malachi Corley being that wide receiver 5 for me, because I think Gibson is definitely ahead of him still, which is kind of surprising. I really thought Malachi was going to go ahead and overtake him, but I digress. I think after that, man, it's just hopes and dreams in terms of the wide receiver room. And I don't know if we have anybody who can go ahead and pretty much kind of step in and help us survive if G5, misses games. So yep. I'm definitively with you, man. It's the wide receiver room all the way that I worry about.
And I just think, like, people have said, well, what could the Jets do to improve it? Well, you never know who gets cut. And I think that's a position where you find someone who maybe is a better scheme fit than what you have. And Aaron's going to make guys better anyway. We know how that works. Now, the one thing I would say too, when it comes to like the wide receiver room and how many they keep, like, I'm sorry, Herb Charles made a couple plays last year as the gunner. I watched Quantez Stiggers this summer, Gunny.
Yep.
He's just as good, if not better, than Herb Charles. So
agreed,
if I'm keeping Stiggers because he's a draft pick and he's earned it. He's going to play. If God forbid there's an injury to Sauce or DJ or Michael Carter, Stiggers has earned the opportunity to be out there. But Stiggers could also provide value as a gunner. So I don't need to keep Herb Charles, who's basically just a special teams only player, if you keep him, when I have Quantez Stiggers who could fill that role. So I think right now there's only 5 wide receiver locks. If they keep a 6th, it's Brownlee, not Herb Charles.
If they keep a 6th, then yes, 100%. I'd have Brownlee over Herb Charles all day. If they're going to keep 6, but right now I don't know, man. I don't see it. I think both of those guys can make the practice squad, if I'm being honest with you. I think both of them, if you want to stash them on the practice squad, they haven't done anything that's so like, wow, that they're going to go ahead and really garner any interest from other teams. So again, when you're looking at finding ways to make room to keep some of the key components that you want to keep, those are 2 individuals right there you cut. You add the extra defensive lineman now, so you're not worried about losing any of those guys. And then you potentially save that last wide receiver spot for when we get Devontae Adams in the building. I wouldn't be mad at it because I really believe Herb Charles and Jason Brownlee will be practice team guys. And I don't know if they really can elevate themselves to be much more. Jason Brownlee, to me, like you said, so inconsistent, and you've got to go ahead and take advantage of opportunities when given to you. Hey, great practice guy. We've loved everything we've seen with him in like prep. Wow, man, one-handed catches. He's great in practice, but when it comes to game days, the dude is very, very inconsistent. And his pedigree as well as his track record doesn't allow him to be inconsistent to go ahead and make this roster.
Duncan checks in with an Asmaniac super chat. Duncan came to our watch party for the Panthers preseason game. Duncan, I don't know if you saw the beginning of the show, but we announced it. It's official. Monday Night Football, Jets, Niners, T-Squared Social, same spot. Let's go, baby. Party starts at 7. So for those of you tuning in late, we made it official. The watch party of all watch parties in New York City for Monday Night Football. RSVP with the link that is in the description for this video. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to Duncan's Asmaniac super chat now. It says, can't worry about a player possibly being claimed. Build the 53 to win games and not be sentimental. Yeah, I mean, you build the best team you can, but part of your thinking naturally is, well, if we cut this guy, can we get him on the practice squad? And if the answer is no, maybe that tells you about how teams feel about your player, Yep. So, like, Izzy's going to get claimed right away. Well, why is that? Oh, well, he might be good. They don't necessarily need him because there's 3 running backs in front of him, but that's a high volatile position where guys get hurt. So, yeah, maybe he doesn't play right away, but it's not sentimental. I might need to keep said player because he's a good football player, and your job is to try and put together a team of the best football players possible.
Yeah, 100%, right? I think that when it comes down to this, you're trying to play chess because ultimately – the caliber of player you have on this roster. How those guys can become an asset to you. Knock on wood, if one of your starters goes down or a number 2 goes down, you've got these guys who know the playbook. They've trained and they've practiced with these guys. You want to have that kind of plug and play mentality with guys who can play football at this level. So in terms of sentimental, I don't think that's what I'm referring to. I don't think that's what Jake's referring to either. You're talking about playing chess because if your guy is that good, and if you let him go and with the hopes of making it to the practice squad, but another team snaps him up, that kind of sucks, right? Because he's already built the rapport. He already knows the dynamic. He already knows how the Jets are preparing. Those things matter when you're trying to plug and play somebody, you know what I'm saying, mid-season, because you need to replace somebody all of a sudden because of an injury. So I think it's just about playing chess vice checkers. I don't really think it'd be considered sentimental at this point.
Denzel Mims got cut today, Gunny.
I saw that.
You want some sentimental?
I'll pass. Listen, we gave Denzel Mims the opportunity, right? The dude, again, highly talented guy. I think we were all on board with that pick. I was. I loved it when we picked him up. I thought with that combination of size and speed, we had to clean up his route running, but we can make him better. Dude just never showed up, right? Granted, we can blame the OC. We can blame him. I just think at this point, man, the Jets are on a positive track. Let's just maintain the positive vibes, positive movement forward. I'll pass on team Denzel Mims. If Green Bean sees this, he's going to be upset. But I don't want to go backwards when it comes to this aspect. Keep moving forward.
It wasn't just Mims who got released today. This was a bit of a surprise. The Dolphins released quarterback Mike White, which it was something I wanted to talk about with you, Gunny, but Brandon Frey is a super chat, so we'll do it right now. I may get shadow around for this, but I'd love to sign Mike White back on the vet minimum to be QB3 with Rodgers off the Achilles and Tyrod's injuries. Brandon, you will not be shadow around for this. I don't know if you saw my tweet. I actually tweeted, people might laugh at this, but I'd bring Mike White back in a second. He'd be the best QB3 in the league. And you can never have enough quarterback depth if you're the Jets with Rodgers coming off his injury and Tyrod has a history of injuries. So why not? Here's the problem. I think Mike White's going to get some consideration from teams around the league to be a number 2 quarterback. So I don't think the Jets, even if they wanted him, will be able to bring him in. But I don't think it's crazy at all for any Jet fan who's been scarred by the quarterback situation the last couple of years. Sees a guy in Mike White that no matter how you view him as a player, he clearly is much better than any of the quarterbacks they've trotted out there the last couple of years. I don't think anyone should be laughing at the idea of trying to improve your depth at the most important position in sports. So great super chat, Brandon. I would do it if I'm the Jets. I don't think it's going to happen for a variety of reasons I just outlined.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Mike White, this guy's in the Hall of Fame for crying out loud. Let's not forget that, right? This is a guy who showed us what this offense can actually do when they're operating on full cylinder. We haven't seen it with Zach Wilson at the time. Mike White is a QB3. I agree, man. I don't know if there's a better QB3 in the league if you have Mike White as your QB3. In terms of the Dolphins, though, I was kind of surprised in terms of how much he struggled. But it really, I hate to say this, but it really goes to show that not every quarterback can run that offense the way it's meant to be ran. Again, Mike White being one of those guys who kind of spoke about the spot throwing aspect and having to get to a particular spot. But he has a little bit of, I guess you can say, a guy who likes to go ahead and be more of a gunslinger, so to speak, right? Trying to go ahead and actually go through reads and process and squeeze the ball into tight holes. But QB3 for the Jets, I'd be on board with it, but I'm with you. There's no way. I think he's a viable QB2 on most teams in the NFL.
Yep, no doubt about it. Back to the roster now. Tight ends. That's another spot where maybe they could add a potential veteran there. I think there's only 3 that I think are locks: Conklin, 100%. Ruckert, and Yeboah. Yeboah had an injury yesterday, but he's supposedly okay. If we assume that's the case, maybe they could look to add someone there. I think we could kind of end the Zach Kuntz experiment. He'll be on the practice squad. They're going to cut him. I mean, he just didn't do anything this summer. I was hoping he would take a step forward. It never happened. Anthony Fertzer, I don't think, is on this team. Tight end and receiver, which we talked about already, could be a spot where they maybe add a veteran if someone they like is available.
Yeah, I think the Kuntz experience was one that was worth the gamble, right? You were betting on some guy who has freak athletic traits in terms of size, speed. Unfortunately, he just can't play football. He can't play football. So I think yesterday was the one that was done for me. Beautifully thrown pass from Adrian Martinez. I mean, beautifully thrown. Just close your hands and then run into the end zone, bro. And he couldn't even do that, man. The dude was unfortunately a failure in terms of what we were hoping he could become. So yeah, no, Zach Kuntz for me. I honestly wouldn't even risk a practice squad spot on him. I think 2 years now, he hasn't shown. I think he's gotten worse, if I'm being honest. I don't think he's gotten better. I think he's gotten worse. He's a liability in the block game. He can't catch. I'm done with Kuntz, man. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just those 3 guys. It's Ruckert. It's going to be Conklin. It's going to be Yeboah. But yeah, if you wanted to bring in another individual into the tight end room as well, again, somebody who's a veteran who's played some games at the NFL level, I'd be on board with that. I think that's another room you can go ahead and kind of solidify. That's the only two rooms I'm with you is wide receiver and tight end, where I'm saying we suck at it, but you would like some depth in those position groups.
Offensive line wise, how many do you think make the team? I have 10 making the Jets 53-man roster.
All right, so offensive line, let me count that out real quick. So I've got 5. Yeah, same here. 5 tackles. I got 5 interior offensive linemen. So
Tyron
my tackles
Smith,
are
Morgan Moses, Max Mitchell, Carter Warren.
Yep. Olu Fashionable, obviously.
Oh, yep.
Yep. And then for the interior offensive line, I got Simpson, Tippmann, Vera Tucker. I got Schwelzer, and I got Newman.
Yeah, I do too. I
Okay.
I think Xavier Newman actually has looked pretty good, and I know he suffered the injury, but they said he could have came back in the game.
Yeah, it was a stinger,
right? And the fact that he could have came back in the game, they didn't put him back out there, tells me his roster spot is probably secure.
100%. But yeah, those I got 10, and I feel really good at that. I feel really good at the first options and the second options. This isn't like last year where we were sweating if somebody got hurt. I mean, granted, you want your ones out there all season, but this Jets offensive line has depth to it now in terms of game experience and guys who've taken that next step. You've seen Newman take the next step. You've seen Mitchell take another step. Carter Warren, I think, has go ahead and take another step. Like, I think you've seen those guys take another step to being viable backups at the NFL level, and you couldn't really ask for more.
Yep, no question about that one. If you're tuned in live right now, give us your thoughts on the projected 53-man roster. Do you agree or disagree with some of what we said? Have we missed any key spot here, Gunny? I mean, I think we've covered the main stuff, right? The biggest decisions, once again, being the defensive line room, which we led with. I think Izzy, you and I are in agreement. He's on the team. Receiver is going to be interesting. That's the one spot that's kind of a toss-up on which ones they're going to keep. Is it 6? Is it 7? I think it's 6, and it ends up being Brownlee, but I don't think Brownlee's spot is necessarily secure if there's a veteran they truly like. But, I mean, special teams-wise, you have Greg the Leg, 2 misses aside yesterday. You still have a lot of confidence in him. That was weird. Thomas Morstead is Thomas Morstead. And then obviously the longest tenured Jet, Thomas Hennessy, is your long snapper. Those are your 3 special teamers. You're on mute, Gunny. Mute your mic.
Oh, my bad. That was weird. And for safeties, I don't know if we did over safety. I got 4 guys for safeties.
Yeah, go ahead. Good point. We didn't do safety.
I got Chuck Clark, Tony Adams, Davis, and I got Isaiah Oliver.
Say it one more time. You got who?
I got Clark, Adams, Davis, and Isaiah Oliver, and then I got Kean Monroe making the practice squad.
Yep, I got the same exact ones. I think they like Oliver. He didn't even play last night, which I think tells you how they feel
that
about
he's
him.
on the roster. Yep.
Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. All right, before we open it up and get to some of your calls, I want to make sure that I ask Gunny this question. Now that the preseason has come and gone, the New York Jets will be gearing up for week 1 against the Niners on Monday Night Football 2 weeks from tomorrow. How do you feel about this team overall? Give me a record prediction going into cut down day on Tuesday.
Well, when the offseason was ended, I was really, really high on the New York Jets, right? And I was an individual that had us winning anywhere from 10 to 12 games. Chose to go with a 12-5 prediction right after the offseason kicked off, and we were about to kick off into training camp. But since then, I think a lot has happened in terms of the developments, right? Seeing how deep we are specifically on the defensive line, seeing how well this offensive line has gelled together. Aaron Rodgers, I was on the fence on whether or not he was going to have to take a step backwards and whatnot. The dude's arm is still very lively. He's throwing it all over the place. Garrett Wilson looks like he's unguardable. And Braylon freaking Allen has been a treasure for me in terms of a guy that's going to be able to go ahead and produce when we got to go ahead and give Breece Hall a couple of times to take a breath. The New York Jets defense is going to be top 5 no matter what. I'm not concerned about that. I think their ability to be in that top 1 to 3 range is going to be how many times they have leads this year and are able to get after quarterbacks. And I think we can comfortably say they're going to have opportunities to do that. So I've adjusted my predictions. I think the New York Jets are going to be going 13-4 this season.
Wow.
Winning the AFC. And it starts with a win in week 1. I would have told you several months ago that the 49ers were going to be a hard ask, and they were probably going to go ahead and take the W. But seeing what they've looked like without Trent Williams right now on the offensive line, you see that they got a banged-up Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy, I don't know. He's throwing pick sixes to third stringers. Like, they've looked like all kinds of out of sorts. And they don't start off relatively well either in the beginning of the season. So with all these things piling up, and I think it's just been announced that Brandon Ayuk will not be there week 1, whether they sign a contract or not. Like apparently he's not going to be starting week 1. They're starting to even state that. So much drama ongoing for them right now. The New York Jets, I think, are finely tuned. Those guys are ready to come in, and I think they're going to take advantage of that opportunity. And I got the Jets actually beating the 49ers now. That's what bumped me up from 12 wins to 13 wins. So, yeah, 13-4, Jets win the AFC. First in the AFC, not just the AFC East.
13-4, a franchise record for regular season wins. They've never won more than 12.
Yeah, I'm high on this roster, man. I'm really high on this roster.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, Gunny. Chris K with a super chat. We'll get to your calls here coming up. So fire off your Gusbuster hotline takes. Get them ready because we're coming to you soon. Chris says, is there really no one else who could long snap? Such a strange use of a roster spot, in my opinion. Is Hennessy that valuable? Yeah, this is an interesting one, but every team does this. I don't like the guy, but Bill Belichick once was asked about this in a press conference. He gave like a 10-minute answer as to why the long snapper position is unique and you need just a specific long snapper. So go watch that. Chris, if you want more. Apparently the answer is yes. I personally don't get it. I would think that, your backup center could also be your long snapper, but that's not how NFL teams do it. So, I mean, that's the short answer to a very complicated question.
I mean, yeah, I at first was on the same page, just like it seems kind of ridiculous. But as much as we hate Bill Belichick, the breakdown he gave made a lot of sense in terms of the protections they got to also be able to do, the accuracy of it. It's a mindset for these long snappers. It's all about consistency because think about it. An errant long snap done wrong could really change the field position if your kicker has to run back there and get the freaking ball and land on it. So I thought it was ridiculous too, but in terms of actual value, when you really think about it, think about how negative an errant long snap could cause you if you're pinned back to your own end zone, right? Like a lot of things can go wrong. So yeah, seems weird, but I think you should just do what Bill says is watch the video of Bill Belichick breaking it down, like Jake just told you.
Hennessy Heisman with a super chat. Overall roster, we're top 3 in the NFL. I don't disagree with this, honestly. Like this to me is one of the better rosters in the league. And look, the question's going to be with Aaron, what version of Aaron Rodgers are the Jets getting? But if he's anywhere from 10 to 13, to me, the New York Jets are the most talented roster you can make the case in the conference. Like that truly is what's so unique about this team. Everyone's like, oh, you guys really think Aaron Rodgers is going to be MVP Rodgers? Like, I'll take it, but I don't need him to be that for this team to be good. If he is anywhere close to that player, if he's still a top 5 quarterback in the sport, Gunny, this team is going to win 13 or 14 games with this defense. That's how talented they are.
And I think that's the biggest thing, right? A lot of individuals that snap at Jets fans for having this high level of confidence in this team is you think Aaron Rodgers is going to be MVP Rodgers? No. Give me Aaron Rodgers from 2022 that everybody says was horrible Aaron Rodgers. Give me freaking 28 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 3,900 passing yards at 64% completion rate. Give me that. I'll take that all day. The Jets will be the Jets will win the AFC, I believe, if you get top 10 Aaron Rodgers. If they get freaking top 5 Aaron Rodgers, yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl. It's just a matter of who we're playing at that point at the Super Bowl.
Like the other thing is too, like people, I'm telling you, just did not watch the Jets after Aaron went down last year. They don't realize that the Jets won 7 games with the worst quarterback situation in at least 10 years in football. Like, I'm not doing this to dunk on Zach Wilson or to dunk on Tim Boyle or to dunk on Trevor Siemian. But the fact of the matter is Zach Wilson right now is competing to be the backup in Denver. He might not even make the team. You're talking about Tim Boyle, who is the number 4 quarterback in Houston, will not be on their team, will be on their practice squad, if that. And Trevor Siemian, who's out of the league, and you won 7 games last year with that quarterback situation. So you don't need Aaron to be an MVP player to win 10 games. If he's average, you're a 10-win team. If he's above average, you're probably an 11-win team or a 12-win team. If he's top 10, you're probably in that 12, 13, maybe more range, right? That's what people fail to understand when you look at this roster and what they accomplished last year with the worst quarterback situation in the NFL in at least 10 plus seasons.
Not just that, Jake, also the worst offensive line situation in quite a long time. I think it was the 31st ranked offensive line in all of football. And you still had the number 2 running back in football in Breece Hall still operate with that kind of uncertainty around him. And you're also talking about a team that came within 5 games lost within one scoring drive. 5 games lost within one scoring drive. So 7 wins, 5 games could have gone either way if you had any kind of competent play on the offensive side of the football at the quarterback position. 5 games. So right there, you're talking about, like, you really don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be better than what we had on the team last year? Even if Aaron Rodgers is the worst version of himself, as people keep talking about, and for 2022, that is a significant upgrade for the New York Jets in terms of the quarterback play. Significant. We'll take it all freaking day.
Amen. Amen. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just tuning in, you guys are going to get sick of me telling you about it, but I'm excited. We made the announcement official earlier. Monday Night Football watch party at T-Squared Social in New York City is confirmed. Let's pack this house in, Jet fans. It is going to be a madhouse. It is going to be insane when the Jets pull off the upset. RSVP with the link in the description. If you're coming out, it's a free event, but you got to RSVP if you are going to attend. Time to open up the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline. Use promo code Jake at gusbuster.com to get yourself a discount on the #1 umbrella in the universe. We say good afternoon to JT, who starts us off today. What's up, JT?
Yo, how are we doing today, guys?
JT.
Living the dream, JT. No, I can hear you. I hear you just fine. Yeah,
Anyway, so
living the dream, man.
Sometimes.
Living the dream.
Yo, I don't think it's a very bad guess to say that we're the top roster in the AFC, because honestly, let's look at the teams. The teams have a better quarterback. We have a better position everywhere else. The only team I can really think of that has a better wide receiver room, the Dolphins, we have a better everything else. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's crazy to say that we are the top roster in the AFC, and I think we can come out on top of the AFC this year. And with the Niners' issues right now, I'm more confident about week 1, man. I'm really more confident about week 1, guys. I don't know about you guys, but Gunny, you said no Ayuk week 1. Did you really hear that?
Yeah. So it was said that when he was in Oakland last night that they revisited negotiations again, and the conversations are right now whether they get him signed or not. He hasn't gotten any kind of training camp or any kind of snaps to be ready for week 1. So there's concerns about him being suited up for week 1.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love it.
It's funny.
I love it.
Even my dad, who's a Niners fan, we're actually going to be there. He said that without Ayuk, his confidence level is not good for week 1. That's crazy to hear from a Niner fan too. Like, I love it. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be one of the few green jerseys in the crowd. I can't wait. But I want to touch on that the roster a little bit here. I think you guys hit it pretty spot on. I definitely want them to keep Tech, Taylor, and McGregor. And Codrington, I think he is just – his position makes him a little more of a shot in the dark to make the roster. I think our cornerback room is a little too full to keep him. There's other positions that we can definitely use that roster spot out, in my opinion.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, JT. Great call. To me, it's like Codrington versus 4 running backs. Codrington versus 10 defensive linemen. Codrington versus 10 offensive line. Like, you can't keep everyone. It's going to be tough. There's no doubt about that. Now, as far as the Niners week 1, as we start to talk about that, if Ayuk doesn't play or he only gets a couple days of practice, are we sure he's going to be a major contributor right away? Like, that impacts them. Also, Christian McCaffrey, calf strain, they're not going to rush him back for week 1. The Niners know they're going to be fine. They know that they have the pedigree to be a playoff team. They're not going to treat that game like it's their Super Bowl. So if McCaffrey's still dealing with any ramifications from the calf strain, they're not playing him. If he doesn't play and Ayuk is not 100% or he's not out there, Trent Williams is still holding out. I got news for you. The Jets are just as talented, if not more talented, than the Niners. The Niners would have the edge in coaching, sure. But the one thing I think that you'd feel good about if you're the Jets is twofold. 1, Aaron Rodgers never lost a game on Monday Night Football. And 2, he's 6-3 against the Niners in the regular season. So there's this narrative that the Niners have owned him. That's not really true. So, yeah, I mean, coaching is advantage Shanahan, but talent, quarterback, I think it's advantage Jets if we kind of project what's trending with this Niners team right now.
Yeah, without question. I like the odds a lot, man. I think for me, the biggest one is going to be Trent Williams, too. People are concerned about, Brandon Ayuk, and I think Christian McCaffrey is definitely a loss if they don't have him. But Trent Williams, man, I think that dude is a superhero, right? Because this is the guy that made Laken Tomlinson a Pro Bowler and has been non-existent. And I think you've seen in the preseason thus far, without him being out there, their offensive line has looked like paper mache. So I think our defensive line is going to wreak havoc against a Brock Purdy. And it's going to be a Brock Purdy that hasn't had to deal with that before because he's had, freaking Trent there, making sure the line was solidified across the board. But all I know is this: Laken Tomlinson is not a Pro Bowler, never was. But that's how good freaking Trent is. He was able to make that dude a Pro Bowler, right? So without him, that left side of the freaking line, I think, to me, is going to be in shambles. So I'm more excited about that 49ers game now than I was when it was first announced, because I really do believe that on paper right now, right, knock on wood, on paper, the Jets are going to show up with the better roster, and they didn't have us beat by too much before when they had a full complement of their weapons. So I'm liking the odds right now. I'm with you, though, man. The coaching aspect is going to be concerning, but we have Aaron Rodgers, and this defense, I think we can at least feel really good about what our defense brings to the table.
Yep. Hennessy Heisman, Super Chat. We'll rapid fire through these. Then we got some big name callers on hold we'll get to. After we win week 1, I will call in Henny in hand. That post-game show that night, after I get back from the watch party at T-Squared Social, Henny, could be one for the ages if the Jets win. Believe that. Tyrone with a Super Chat. 13-4 is the minimum with the Jets. Excited. Go Jets. Look. To me, the minimum is 10 wins, right? You can't predict injuries. We're still talking about the Jets, so I don't want to go crazy here, but I think 13 wins is not crazy. I wouldn't say that's the minimum, right? The minimum being 13, where they've never won more than 12 in their entire history. I can't go that far, Tyrone, but I love your optimism, man.
Love the enthusiasm.
Julio with a Super Chat. 100% pressures on Saleh. He has the ingredients. Yeah, look, there's no gray area for this head coach. He's got more talent than he's ever had by far. A real quarterback and real backup quarterback, contingency plans on the offensive line if there is an injury to Tyron or Morgan Moses. Like, get it done. No excuse. This team at the bare minimum, Gunny, needs to be in the playoffs and win a playoff game to guarantee the head coach is back.
100%. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you give me 10 wins and we still miss the playoffs, sorry, it's been real solid. The experiment is over. You have to get into the playoffs and you have to win a playoff game. If you lose after that, we'll still be pissed off, but we would understand if you get an extension.
Jet it out with a Super Chat. He writes in, I keep saying Jets 38, 49ers. 49ers what? Nothing? There's no score there. I've been accurate with predictions the past 2 years. Might change the name to Jets-Stradamus, 14-3 Super Bowl champs. Well, jet it out. Give us your score prediction, because right now I just see Jets 38-49ers. That said, hey, I hope you're right. Jets 38-0. We'll call it that. You good with that, Gunny?
I'm good with that. 38-0 against the runner-up for the Super Bowl. Listen, if the Jets come out and they do that, man, talk about putting the NFL on notice. that would be awesome.
Oh, my God. All right, more calls right here. Ladies and gentlemen, an arch nemesis of the show is on the line. What will he complain about today? We say hello to JJ. Hello, JJ.
Yo, what's going on? My Wi-Fi might be terrible. I'll explain why in a second, but real quick. I was at the game yesterday, and you know what pissed me off? Why were we kicking touchbacks on kickoff? Like, the whole point of the new rule is to bring some excitement and leave it to the Jets to kick it out of the end zone like 3 times. That was so annoying. I know, like, it's a preseason game, so I want to see, like, kick returns. Am I alone in that thought?
I don't know why they kicked it out. I'm also kind of indifferent in regards to kicking it out in the preseason, whatever.
I mean, in the regular season game, I don't want the other team to have a chance, but at the same time, I don't want them to start on the 35-yard line. And the first kickoff we did, we got a fumble. So then it was weird that everyone after that, I don't know. That's neither here nor there. I really like that guy, number 43, Corrington. I think he looks better than Xavier Gibson as a return man. You know me, I'm not that huge of a Xavier Gibson guy. I think after that one punt return touchdown, he didn't really do much for the season. I thought Braxton Berrios was better than him. So Corrington looks really good. I hope that he stays on the team, and I would love to see him and Gibson back there over Malachi Corley. Malachi Corley hasn't really impressed me so far, but I mean, it's still time. He's a rookie, so we'll see what he can do. But anyways, I just wanted to call in. So yesterday I went to the game, and right after I had to catch a flight. I'm in the beautiful, can you guess what country this is?
It's a European country.
You're in Europe? Italy?
Italia! And I'm wearing my Mets jersey or my Mets shirt. So let's go Mets and let's go Jets in Italy. All right, guys. Peace.
Nice.
JJ, have a great vacation, man. Or whatever
That's
brings you to
nice.
Italy.
Yeah, right. Italy's always a good time. What?
Going from MetLife Stadium to Italy. You talk about a difference in architecture. From
Right?
the world's biggest AC unit to Italy. What part of Italy, JJ? Right in the chat.
I want to know.
Yeah. How long are you going to be there? I mean, are we going to hear from you this week? You're going to be our
Get some great
Italian correspondent. Well, speaking of Italian correspondents, Gunny, you're picking the Jets to win week 1. This guy has been on it for months. In fact, he is so sure the Jets are going to win, not just week 1, but he has already said 17-0 in the regular season, and then 3 more wins come playoff time, and the 20-0 perfect season will be complete. We say hello to the Italian stallion, Neil, who joins us now. Hello, Neil.
What's up, guys? Gunny, how you
What's up,
doing?
Neil? I'm good, brother. How you doing, man?
Getting ready for the best season of watching 58 years of Jet football. This is it. No more heartbreak.
20-0.
No more heartbreak. No more losses. No more disappointments. Let me just say this. This roster we have right now, my God, this Tack McKinley, the kid Carter, these guys are just, when you have a great roster, when you have to worry about who's going to get scooped up by other teams on waivers. How many times, look, in the last 3 years, there's been a handful of guys. Luvu. Who else did we have, Jake? The guy on the safety on the Giants got scooped up.
Pinnock. Yep.
Pinnock. Who else? There's been the linebacker on the Texans.
Like Cashman. Yep.
Cashman.
Yep. Look, there's a lot of guys that are on our team that are on other teams that are performing and producing that were on our team and got cut. I mean, you think about that. Never, ever has happened. This is traditionally a day tomorrow where we're all excited about who's going to get let go on waivers and who we could scoop up to make our roster look better. That is the furthest from the coaching staff's mind right now than anything else. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, it's more about the Jets being able to keep their own good players than adding players from other teams.
Exactly.
It's
100%.
It's ridiculous. We have an embarrassment of riches right here. And and one thing I really am impressed at, and again, stock up on the O-line coach. I got to give the O-line coach a lot of credit this spring. Keith Carter put together a really nice spring. He's got these offensive linemen, no matter if it was the second string, Martinez and Peasley, both had a shit ton of time back there to throw the ball. There were very, very nice sized rushing lanes. We never had rushing lanes the last 5 seasons, have we, guys? Usually we hand the ball off and somebody's hitting our guy in the backfield. Yeah. So even the stretch plays, every play we've done in the running backs, I'm not looking for a lot of ground and pound because I want to pound guys into submission by using our receivers and using the short screen. How about the screen game? How good does Martinez look in the screen game? Just him rolling out looks so comfortable, okay? You look at that, Peasley's, not the best thing in the world, but this kid Martinez, I got to tell you, he looks really, really good.
He'll be on the practice squad. He'll be the third quarterback.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And now, guys, question. Tight ends, right? Is it possible, because we're so stacked at receiver and maybe want to take on this kid from on the kick returns, that we go with just 2 tight ends, Jake? Donnie, what do you think about that? Because really, the other tight ends, I never liked Yeboah. I don't like him. Okay?
He'll be on the team, though. He's been getting reps with the 2s and the 1s at points this summer. When Ruckert went down, he was the guy that was out there. So you're going to have at least 3 tight ends, Neil. You're not going to.
All right, so let's.
You got to remember, Neil. We got rid of the fullback as well.
Zach Kuntz.
Oh, 100%. Zach Kuntz is Zach Kuntz is trash. Zach Kuntz, the experiment was fun, but let's be honest, it's a failure. The guy has incredible RAS scores, but he can't play football, and that's okay. We tried it out; it just didn't work out.
It was a 7th round dart throw. Like, they took a shot on it.
Yeah. And I will say this: I really think, and this is just my prediction, I think that I think Michael Clemens is going to get cut. I really think that one of these two guys, I really feel he might get cut because we had such good pass rushing. According to BJF, the two pass McKinley and the other guy. Who's the other guy that was rushing?
Taylor or McGregor?
McGregor. The edge guys, Jake. Forget it. Taylor looked like Quentin Williams. I mean, it's unbelievable how good this kid looked. He was on. They didn't even give him credit for one. He had 1.5 sacks, but he really had 2.5 because that one McGregor he had the guy around the legs and he wasn't going anywhere. Okay. And he just jumped on top of the guy and took credit for the sack. So this guy Carter is just amazing. If they really have to sign him. So my point is, if we take McGregor, because certainly McGregor, BJF said McGregor and Tack had the best edge numbers in the entire league in the preseason.
Yep.
Okay? So if you have that, and we know we need an edge rusher in case something happens with Hassan Reddick, why waste our time with what's his name? He's not a pass rusher. I mean,
they like him against the run. They're higher on him than we are.
I get it, Jake, but let me tell you something. You can't let these guys go because this guy, McKinley, is going to get scooped up in a heartbeat. Same thing. And these guys are going to play on rookie contracts. You're going to be able to extend them out. Carter could easily replace the 49er guy in a year or two. You got 3 very, very talented guys with tremendous upside.
Who's Carter?
You're
saying Carter.
I think he means Taylor.
You mean Leonard Taylor?
No, yes. Actually, the third. I just see 3 on there.
Yeah, it's the third. That's why I figured you were doing that.
But the guy is on every play. I mean, the guy has had an outstanding 3 preseason games. And he looks so much like Quentin Williams. He looks a lot. I mean, the guy's got a grade 3 technique. He's in the backfield. You see some of the plays he made. I mean, he was in the backfield, blowing by offensive line. Now, granted, the third string guys, but I don't care. He's young, he's aggressive, and he's got a lot of upside.
Actually, he did a lot of that towards JSM, which is their starting center. So he did that against JSM.
Yeah, good point,
right.
Gunny.
Yeah.
Now Neil,
what? Yeah,
I got a point for you. All right, we gave you 17 points today, which I love.
I'm not making any points, but go ahead. I know you like jumping me off after I make a point or two, but go ahead. I want to have a conversation here. Go ahead.
The official watch party is set. How many Jet chants will you be leading the night of Monday, September 9th?
Oh, God. You won't believe it. I will never lose my voice because I have a very gifted voice. So I will not lose my voice. And I predict at least 20. I will be dressed. I will be painted. You're going to see a different Neil, buddy. You're going to see game time Monday Night Football, Neil, not this bullshit. And believe me when I tell you, somebody's going to be running for their life, Jake. So let's hit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will see Neil and all the Asmaniacs at T-Squared Social 2 weeks from tomorrow night.
Is Brock Purdy going to run for his life on the opener? Yeah! He's going to die. Let's go. J-E-T-S, Jets.
It's all happening, baby. Yeah.
He's going to die.
Brock Purdy. He's going to die.
Oh, man.
Gunny, you're the man. I appreciate you hanging out for over an hour. I'll let you run. Thanks so much for coming on. And make sure you plug your channel again for people to subscribe.
Yeah, easy day, Jake, man. Always a pleasure, man, chopping it up with you, man. Always a fun time. But yeah, y'all, again, can see me on New York Jets Situation Report. I'm on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Again, Tuesday nights, the Hang or Hang Out. That's the go-to show for my channel on the week. And I also sprinkle random breaking news videos and whatnot, and some content as well. Also some pretty good articles on my channel. So feel free to go ahead and check it out. Again, Jake, I appreciate you, bro. It's going to be a great season. Looking to talk ball with you more.
Gunny, you are the man. Everyone check him out. One of the greats. One of my pals from Houston. Fellow Jet guy, obviously. Maybe the best setup of any content creator. I mean, that backdrop he has with the jerseys, the memorabilia, absolutely tremendous. Hit the like button if you're tuned in. We're presented today by the Jake Asman Show Patreon. Bonus content is available. In the month of August, I have posted, I think it's either 5 or 6 shows that are not on YouTube. So exclusive content to the Patreon. You also get access to the Discord. Today's the last day you could sign up for the month of August if you want your name added to the countdown ticker. We update that list of names once a month. People ask me all the time, hey, Jake, how can I support you? You know, I watch the show every day. Well, for less than a cup of coffee a month, just $5 a month, you can join the Patreon. You sign up for the year, you save 15%. So it's a great way to be a part of the community away from YouTube. Get in the Discord and find out all the info about our watch party for week 1. And if you're going to San Fran, there's Asmaniacs going too. If you want to connect with them, patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Big shout out to Sco, Tyrion, Thomas O'Connell for being our 3 most recent Patreon subscribers. I can't even imagine Neil with face paint on, by the way, at our watch party. Who's ready for that, huh? Shout out to Bobby Saratoga, who says, have a great day, everyone. Great show. Gunny's awesome. Gunny's great. Great dude. Great dude. Tom Ace checks in. I'm feeling great about week 1. Things feel like they broke as good as they could against an opponent. Look, knock on wood, between now and the opener, Jets stay as healthy as they are. But how could you not feel better about the Jets' chances now than you did before camp started? Some of it is Jet related. You feel good about Rodgers and this team and all that, but Ayuk, unknown. McCaffrey, an unknown. Trent Williams, an unknown. Purdy hasn't looked good this summer. Their O-line is not great. Jets are a live dog in that game. BP York with a super chat. Thank you, BP York. Appreciate you. If you have a comment or a question, write it in, and if I see it, I'll pull it up. Let's get back to your calls right now. We got some heavy hitters on the line, including maybe the most knowledgeable caller we have. We say hello to Connor Long. Connor, what's going on?
Jake, how you doing?
I'm good, Connor. How are you?
I'm doing well, and it was that game last night really made it tough now for the final 53. It's like, is he? I heard you guys talk about it earlier. Like, Izzy has literally done everything he possibly could to earn a spot on this roster, and I think he deserves it because you also have to take into consideration. I mean, he has lightning speed. He showcased that ability in college. I mean, I saw him that play. He had that crazy touchdown on. I mean, there were like 4 defenders piled around him, and he just broke every tackle and he took it to the house. It's like if you put a guy like him on a practice squad, like I said, he's 23 years old with lightning speed. Someone will probably take a flyer on him. Someone will pick him up and put him on their active roster. But someone who, I've been personally a huge fan of is Brandon Codrington. And, right now, I think the only way that he could get onto this roster, which I would never say never about, is the new rule where you could start a player on the IR and then elevate them to the 53 when they're fully healthy. I think the only way we could see Codrington make it if they do that with JBC, they start him on the IR for the beginning of the year and then elevate him to the 53 once he's fully healthy. But it's really tough. And, Leonard Taylor III, obviously, with those plays at defensive tackle. Do you think McGregor makes it? I joined a little late. Sorry if you talked about it, but Tack McKinley, McGregor, both of them have looked great.
Yeah, I don't have McGregor making it. He was like the one guy. It was just tough for me to find a spot, Connor. Now, the JBC stash him on IR thing is interesting, but I think he's going to be healthy for week 1, and they might need him. Like he's played really well. Yeah,
you take him over Codrington though, right?
I would. Yeah, I Codrington, I couldn't find a spot for him. Izzy basically got his spot because now I'm keeping 4 running backs.
Absolutely. And then do you have 10 offensive linemen, the 5 tackles and the 5 guards there?
Yep. I have I can tell you who I have. I have 10. Yep. I have Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, Elijah Vera Tucker, Olu Fashanu, Max Mitchell, Carter Warren on my tackles, AVT, Joe Tippmann, John Simpson, Wes Schweitzer, Xavier Newman are my interior.
Yeah, that's it. I have the exact same thing, and then I have Glacier, Laval, and Hansen making the practice squad. I think they'll put those 3 guys on the practice squad. But yeah, it's gonna, it's such a good problem to have, though. I mean, there's so much talent on this Jets team. You really have to decipher who you're gonna keep and who you're not. But I mean, and there's the whole nother debate. Do you carry 6 or 7 receivers? Does Brownlee make it? Does Charles make it? Do you have Charles making it? I personally, I think they'll give him a spot, and then Brownlee's practice squad guy.
I did not have Charles making the team.
Okay. So yeah, personally, if I was Joe Douglas, I would not give Charles a roster spot, but the Jets have really seemed to like him, so I think they will give him a roster spot. But Jake, really appreciate you taking my call.
Connor, I want you to know that because I got back from Vegas and I wanted to get the Vegas feel off me and I went clean shaven, people were saying I look like you now.
Oh wow. I like the comparison.
apparently I I basically de-aged about 20 years. Yeah, I was 13 again.
You got it. Appreciate it.
Connor, great job. And great job with the CBS2 story that Steve Overmeyer did on you. I enjoyed watching.
I appreciate it. I have some exciting news in terms of CBS2 that'll be released soon. Thank you.
Let me guess. They're going to have you host their weekly Jet show. You're going to be their guy.
We'll see.
I wasn't a no. Connor might be bigger than all of us. Dude. I love it. Congrats, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Connor Long, everybody. Tremendous. Hit the like button for Connor. Rich wants to know, Jake, what was your favorite meal in Sin City? Rich, for me, it was Carbone, which I've been to the New York City one before. The Vegas one's better, more room. Shout out to my guy Chris, who got us the reservation, which is not an easy res to get. Carbone was excellent. Great Italian meal. But Barry's was good too. Barry's at Circa, I love. So a lot of good food when I was in Vegas. And thank you again to everyone who tuned into the content the last couple of days from Vegas, from Circa. Shout out to Circa for holding it down. The best place to stay if you're going to Vegas is Circa Resort and Casino, bar none. Joseph Freeman with an Asmaniac super chat. Open phone lines if you want in on the conversation. Click the Gusbuster hotline link and you will be ready to roll. Interesting, would you rather? Mike Effin White or Martinez as quarterback 3 on the practice squad? Thanks for all you do, Jake. So, Joseph, for me, the answer is Mike White. However, Mike White will not be on any practice squad. He's a vested veteran. Someone will sign him, I believe, to be their backup or their number 3. So he's not going to go on the practice squad and make less money. That said, and I said it earlier, I would sign Mike White if I could. Tyrod Taylor's got a history of injuries. Aaron Rodgers is 40. Why not have the best backup quarterback in the league? Seriously, you'd have the best number 2, in my opinion, and number 3 quarterback in the league. Why not? Now, why not is because Mike White will get a chance to go somewhere else, but I would keep him over Adrian Martinez. He'll be on the practice squad. That's what I think happens. Hit the like button if you're tuning in. We're going to get to a legend on the line in just a moment. Steve writes in, with our roster superiority, can we give Douglas some credit and maybe separate himself from Salah if we disappoint? This isn't the first year teams take our cuts. Neil just stole my thunder. Yes/no. They deserve credit, Steven. Douglas, I think, has redeemed himself this offseason from what was a bad offseason minus the Rodgers trade a year ago. That said, now they have to win. So I'm not separating Douglas and Salah just yet. Let's see how the year goes. Because if we're going to separate Douglas from Salah, then, okay, Joe Douglas, you could make a case, should have been the one fired last year, not Robert Saleh, who built the top 5 defense, had a top 5 special teams unit, and won 7 games with the worst quarterback situation ever put together. So if we're going to separate them, well, the Jets could have been a playoff team the last 2 years if Joe Douglas was better at his job because of the job Robert Saleh did, still winning 7 games despite the worst quarterback situation in the league. So that's why I'm not separating them. To me, they're still linked together. Douglas has bounced back this offseason. Now let's give Saleh a chance with a real quarterback. Okay? Because we could check in now on the elite QB talent that Saleh has had since he's been the Jet coach. You ready for this? Chris Strebler, out of the league. Trevor Siemian, out of the league. Tim Boyle, about to be out of the league. He's the 4th quarterback on Houston. He'll be on their practice squad, if that. Mike White just lost the backup job in Miami. Zach Wilson, 3rd stringer in Denver. Josh Johnson, backup quarterback. Joe Flacco, backup quarterback. That's the list of quarterbacks Robert Saleh has had since he's been here. So I'm not separating Douglas and Saleh because if we play that game, Saleh, you can make a case, has actually done his job better in some respects than maybe Douglas. Now, you didn't think I'd go that way, did you? A little spin zone there. Dom C checks in. Dom will be joining us tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, I believe is the set time. Hot take, Jets keep only 5 receivers in the initial 53. I don't think it's that hot, Dom. Actually, no, it's a little hot, but I could see it because I could see them, as I said earlier, adding a wide receiver off the waiver wire. Interesting. Speaking of interesting, this guy always is interesting. We say good afternoon to Charles, Eugene, Anthony, Gorman. Hello, Charles.
Hello, Jake. How are you?
Charles, what's going on?
Nothing much. I mean, listened to you and Gunny for a while. It was a very interesting take. I hope to God Tack McKinley makes the team along with what you think of Eric Watts? I thought he showed pretty good flashes of pretty good stuff. I mean,
in other years, Charles,
under
you'd be on the
91,
Jets.
McGregor, he looked good. Our defensive line is deep as hell. I mean, we have probably had one person said in the chat that may be our weakest link. I don't know. We're deep in the defensive line department.
Yeah, I mean, it is tough for them to get this roster down to 10 in that room if you keep 10, assuming you keep 10. I mean, there's some really good players that in the past would definitely be on the 53 that there's just not enough space for them.
Absolutely. You know, Adrian Martinez, I have to agree with Mr. Neal. He looked good. I mean, what was so fun about the first half wasn't really the points. Obviously, in preseason, wins and losses don't really matter. But you want to see what your team looks like in terms of how they orchestrate their game plan. And I thought Adrian Martinez orchestrated the offense extremely well, extremely competently, and didn't really turn the football over. I mean, he ran about 20-something yards on that one play, which I thought was very impressive. He threw a very nice pass to Brownlee, which I do agree. After looking back at that, should have been called for pass interference in the end zone, but it is what it is. But I also do like how Izzy Abanikanda played. That was impressive to me because I like the young man. I think Izzy Abanikanda can play in this league. I think he could play in the NFL. I know some people wanted him cut. Not that he was terrible. It's just that people didn't think because we drafted Brendan Allen, who was a stud, and Isaiah Davis, who showed signs of being a stud as well. You know, I like to keep Israel Abanikanda as the 4th running back, you know. Galladay looked good yesterday, but to me, I think he's going to be more of a practice squad guy.
I think Izzy's on the team as the 4th running back. I agree with you, Charles.
I also like Brandon Smith. I hope I said his name number is 87. He has made some incredible catches in the preseason, especially not just in last night's game, but even the game against Washington where he made incredible catches.
I think he'll be on the practice squad.
I hope so too, man. I mean, there's so many. I mean, obviously you can't put everyone on the active roster. Obviously, you got to cut it down to 53. LOL. But we've seen a lot. What?
What's so funny about
I'll say LOL because it's a no-brainer. You can't put you got to dumb it down to 53. Am I correct? I mean, that's the point of the NFL heading into the regular season. Malachi Corey looked pretty good. I know that catch that he dropped the pass in the first drive of the game. It's funny. I was watching the opening kickoff at my friend Colin's house, and I literally thought Asante, I think that was the dude on the jump. I thought he was gone, and then he gets tackled and fumbles the football, and I'm like, yeah, I know I'm a Jet fan, but I'm like, what is the guy doing? Put 2 hands on the football. And the Jets picked it up, and they drove down the field, I thought, very, very well. And then they kicked the field goal, which Greg Zerline, I think, went 1 for 3 in the game. You know, he missed his last 2, which everyone wanted to say, what the hell? What's wrong with Greg Zerline? You know, what the hell? And I'm like, it is what it is. But I thought that special teams look fine. I mean, Thomas Morstead's a great punter. I think he was on the 2009 Saints team when they won the Super Bowl. I think he was a rookie that year. And he's been a wonderful punter since that time. I only played 1 year with the Fins, but he's been a wonderful punter. And guy keeps himself in great physical. That's one thing you got to admire about these older players. They keep themselves in phenomenal physical condition. Same with Aaron Rodgers.
Charles, why are you talking about Thomas Morstead? We know he's really good.
Well, some people. Well, I'm just saying, because I like Thomas
Okay.
Morstead.
Fair enough. I was
I
just
talk
wondering.
about players that I like. If I don't
Okay.
like him, I don't talk about him unless I want to bash him, like Jay Cutler, who used to suck in the NFL. But that's another story.
Jay Cutler. That's a random one.
Yeah, I know.
What's up with your background?
That's Space Ghost. Never heard of Space Ghost?
No, duck your head. I want to see Space Ghost. A little lower. There you go. I don't know. Lower your arm. It looks like Batman.
No, that's Space Ghost.
Who is Space
Space Ghost was, of all the Hanna, I know this is a Jet show. I know a lot of people are like, what is this guy talking about? Space Ghost was part of a series of Hanna-Barbera superheroes that Hanna-Barbera put out. He was literally my favorite Hanna-Barbera superhero growing up as a kid. I know someone mentioned Coast to Coast. I never cared for that show. I love the
All right,
original.
Charles, stop what you're doing. All rise. Here comes the judge. 50 for Aaron Judge. Let's go.
Oh, shit. Let me see.
Let's go. Best hitter I've ever watched. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Best hitter you ever
runs.
watched?
He's the best hitter I have ever seen that is not on PEDs. What he's doing is insane.
Well, Miguel
Continue,
Cabrera was a pretty damn good hitter.
Yeah, but what Judge is doing in a league where no one's hitting is insane. Like, it is crazy. But go on.
Anyway, I never cared for Space Ghost Coast to Coast. I never got into it. I love the original animated series better. That was my introduction to the character. But Jeffrey,
we're
you
still
see,
talking
you
about
put Thunder the
superheroes.
Barbarian. I'm sorry. My apologies, everybody. But someone put in Thundar. I liked him too. But anyway,
tell us more about this hike you had yesterday, Charles.
What, about 6.5 miles? Yeah, Carly's in the chat, which I haven't seen yet. In the chat, I don't know if I told anybody this.
What does Carly have anything to do with your hike?
Well, she thought I was an athlete when I said yesterday that I went on a 6.5 mile hike.
My mistake.
I said, well,
continue.
I'm an Eagle Scout. I am the fourth person of my family to achieve that rank, and during my time with the Boy Scouts, I did a lot of hiking. I went on mountain trails. I went camping a lot. So when my friend Colin called me on this past Tuesday, to see, hey, we're going to go, me and Tom was thinking about going for a hike. You want to join us? I said, sure, why the hell not? I haven't hiked in so long. He said, dress appropriately for it, which obviously makes sense. And
what did you wear?
I put on my shoes, my black sneakers that I usually wear for work at times. And we hiked. Thomas, doesn't really get active a lot. But he said he hasn't hiked. We went to Sourland Mountain Reserve in Hillsborough, New Jersey. And we hiked. We had fun. We saw some people with dogs. We saw some people riding bikes. We even saw a tree that had the words "Kiss my you-know-what" on it.
Rear end?
Yes. We had a lot of fun. I mean, we definitely had a lot of fun. It was definitely one of the most fun I had in a very long time. I wouldn't say I'm an athlete. I was never really much of an athlete when I played sports.
You never had the makings of a varsity athlete?
No, are you kidding me? I played Little League Baseball. I hustled, but I wasn't an athlete. I played basketball.
Tony Soprano, to be fair.
That's true. When I played basketball when I was a young kid, I just mostly ran up and down the court. The only sport that I was really good at, that I had most success in, was bowling.
Really?
Yeah, me and my father, back when I was in my elementary school and middle school years, Me and my father were part of an adult child bowling league in Edison, New Jersey. Yeah, and it was one of the best moments of my life. The people we bowled against were very lovely people, very friendly, it was a clean, competitive thing. We became friends with those people. It was very nice, and it was one of the best moments of my youth.
Well, I'll tell you what, Charles. I don't know if you
Um,
caught the beginning of the show, but I announced that we're doing our Monday Night Football watch party for week 1 and then week 2, the following week against the Titans. There's a bowling alley
I've
at T
seen it,
Squared
Jake.
Social.
Yes, I've seen it.
Well, why don't you come out and play, and I'll make sure that you can get a lane.
I don't know about that, man. I'll have to check my schedule.
What's on the agenda?
Right now, just want to play it by day, want to play it by ear.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see what the heck happens. Anyway, so back to talking about the Jets. This is probably the most talented team I've seen in my lifetime. This is one of the most talented teams I've seen in my lifetime. It just comes down to the coaching. Obviously, as you said and as Gunny said, the 49ers have the edge in coaching. Kyle Shanahan has had a lot more success than Robert Saleh in recent years. I mean, he's been to a Super Bowl a couple of times. He's been to the NFC Championship game. Let's see. 2019, 2021, 2022, last year. He's been to the NFC Championship game 4 times. He's a good coach. Obviously, he has yet to be a great coach, but I think he's a good coach. He's a brilliant offensive mind. I know the 49ers are injured. I know Trent Williams is not playing, but I'm still not counting out the Niners. Because, God forbid, the Jets still have yet to prove anything. I'm not saying we don't have a chance. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that we have a lot to prove. Obviously, I'm not a former Eagle Scout. I'm still an Eagle Scout. But, Jake, where are you? Jake? I think Jake's up to something. What do I think? What time did you go to sleep? Around 3 o'clock. How you doing, Rick? Are you wearing the same? Oh my god. No. What was my bowling average? Around a 91, 92. Yeti, I know this is not my show. I know insert shameless self promo. I will be doing a show around 2:30. I will be doing oh, I talked to him. Wow. Never knew she would call me baby. How many merit badges did you achieve? Over 100. Over 130.
Calm your freaky down.
I wasn't a gutter ball. It was a 91, 92. You suck, you. How many merit badges did I achieve? Over 130. Well, this is not my show. This is Jake's show. R&R. Do you like spaghetti? Of course, I absolutely love spaghetti.
Hi,
What was your
everybody.
final
This is
project
Bob
in
from Vermont.
Scouts?
I am Bob, of course.
Hey, Charles. Here's someone who wants to be your first caller on the Gorman Show.
Hey, Bobby.
Isn't he a funny guy, Charles? I tell you, Jake really is a funny guy, isn't he?
Yes.
I like to be a caller on the show.
I will be doing a show on my channel around 2:30. So.
Yeah, what show is that going to be about?
It's a little surprise. I felt I wanted to do it last night, but I got a little tired.
I know you were up late last night on my channel. Holy cow!
How's Nick feeling? Is he scarred for life?
I don't know. We haven't talked today.
I know you were on Uncle Tio's channel doing a little game.
Was funny. Yeah, that was funny today. Well, it was Johnny Boy and
Johnny Boy and Snowball.
Snowball, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
and on Friday I'm gonna be on their channel at 6:00.
That's wonderful.
So let's see, Jake. Jake, I called him to say hi to you. Okay, if you're not gonna say hi to me, I'll hang up. How's that sound? I don't.
Do I have the
Hi,
hearts
everybody.
for
This is Bob from Vermont. I am Bob, of course.
Do I have a Space Ghost action figure? No, I don't. I do not have a Space Ghost action figure. I wish I did, but I don't. No, that's not my next show, Gator. It's going to be something really interesting. Are they making a Space Ghost movie? I have no idea. You know, Jake, if you're out there, people are saying that you and Carly are dating.
Well, like good-looking chicks in that family. Wow.
Bobby.
Oh, yeah, baby. Things are about to get crazy here on the Jake Asman Show.
Calm your freaky down.
Sometimes we try, but that freaky just take us over.
Give him some of your loving voice.
Oh, yeah, hide them kids.
Again, keep your damn freaky down.
Too sexy.
you gotta chill, man.
I don't know, Hassan. I think you should have been with the team since the beginning. Hi, Carly. Charles Entertainment, I am fading out. I'm going to set myself on fire with my own cigar. Hi, Carly.
Calm your freaky down.
Let me change the background so everyone can see my room better. Nope. Oh, fuck. No.
On behalf of the Jake Asman Show, we apologize for the foul language.
Oh, that's audio off the top. What the fuck?
On behalf of the Jake Asman Show, we apologize for the foul language.
There we go. That's better. Sorry, everybody. Let's see. I don't really eat bacon, egg, and cheese that much. Stephen Shell's a franchise safety. I think he's a good player. I think he's got a couple more years to develop, but we'll see. That's a good question. Yes, Skater, I know I suck. I suck air. Thank you.
Hey, Charles, I need some of that chicken soup, Charles. I've been looking for you, son. Where is that chicken soup? I need it, Charles. I need your mama's chicken soup. Where is it, Charles? I need the recipe right now.
It's in my belly.
Right now, Charles. It's in your belly. It need to be in my belly, Charles Gorman. Charles Eugene Gorman, give me that recipe right now. I need it, Charles. I need it.
Okay, it's chicken, pasta, carrots, celery, salt, tomatoes to help make the broth, and that's it.
Oh, tell Mama Gorman I need it tomorrow. I need it tomorrow, Charles. I need all of the enchiladas, the pinatas, all the food you got every day you eating, Charles. Every day you smacking those something, Charles. I need the food, Charles. Where is your mama's chicken soup? JTS! I need some of your mama's chicken soup.
Come on, Jake. Just come on out on the show.
Some more of that chicken soup.
I'm back, Charles. Thanks for holding it down.
It's very funny. I've noticed Carly has been in the chat a few times.
Are you guys dating?
Are you dating her?
I was under the impression you were.
I have yet to have a girlfriend at all. I haven't had a girlfriend in over 2 years.
So you've had a girlfriend, though. You just said you've yet to have a girlfriend.
I have yet to have another girlfriend. I haven't had a girlfriend in about 2 years.
Well, I'll tell you what. That's going to change soon.
I would hope so.
Mm-hmm.
I know Carly I think Carly says she lives in New York.
She's moving in with you, I heard.
My parents wouldn't allow me to live with a woman that's not my wife nor my mother.
Why not?
And besides, I don't really believe in that either, but I know a lot of people like to live with their girlfriends, and that's fine. But that's not really my thing, you know?
What is your thing?
Living out on my own, living out with a friend.
Colin?
Well, I don't know what Colin wants to do. Right now, he's still living with his parents, too. I'm on the waiting list to move to a nice apartment. I'm still waiting for that shit to get cleared up.
I see. All right. Well, Charles, I feel like we accomplished a lot today. Great job holding it down.
Thank you. Anyway, I'm going to get ready for my show. Peace out.
Charles, thank you for the time. I am a capitalist after all, so I see this comment here from NY Cursor that he'll give 5 memberships if I end this show. NY, time to pay the piper, baby. My listeners need memberships. We've added 0 in this show, and I've been live for almost 2 hours. How's that possible? I'm just messing. Thank you for the support, NY. Hit the like button if you're tuning in. The Charles Gorman Show. I'm going to have to watch it back. You know, I stepped out of the room for a little bit. What did I miss? Get back to your calls here before we wrap up the show. Gusbuster Hotline remains open for those of you who want in on the conversation. Make sure you hit the like button. We're at 266 likes. There's 370 of you still watching after that. God bless. Let's get the likes up, baby. And we continue right now.
Well, you know I can't wear my freaking hat. It's hot, my balls will sweat. Oh, look, I have a fan. I'm Bobby.
What's up, Bob?
Hi, Jake. You're pretty funny this morning, aren't you?
It's the afternoon, Bob.
Okay, in the afternoon, you're pretty funny, too. You were behind the scenes. Don't tell Charles you were.
Charles was hosting the show. I had to step out.
Yeah, but you were playing the background. You had everybody change, and you had... Who brought it? If you were not around, who brought it? King Lowski and me.
Gator.
He did not.
He's my producer.
He did not. Well, we had a good time this morning on the other show. I was a star on the show today.
I like the backwards hat, Bob.
Yeah, this is mean, Bobby. Badass, Bobby. This is badass, Bobby.
Badass.
Yep. Every time Nick Shine says, every time I turn this hat around.
You look like Artie Lang.
Who's that?
Used to be on the Howard Stern show, stand-up comic.
Never heard of him.
Well, Google him and you'll laugh at some of his bits over the years.
Artie Lang?
Yep. Type in Artie Lang, Joe Buck Live, and you'll laugh your rear end off.
Artie. You know who, what's his name likes?
Who?
Charles Gorman likes. He likes.
What does he like?
He likes the George Carlin. Oh, him? You think I look like him?
You kind of do right now.
No, I don't think so. No, that ain't. Isn't he Spanish? Like
Artie Lang, I don't believe is Spanish. No.
Well, I don't look like him. I'm sorry to say that. I think we need. I don't know. So Carly said hello to you in the chat. Hi,
Did
Carly.
you?
How you doing today?
Between you and Gorman today, Bob.
Calm your freaky down.
I'll be quiet. Just said hello to her. I didn't say anything.
Yeah, but I know what you're doing.
Yeah, I know what you're doing.
I know what you're doing. Hello, I know what that's code for.
When is the next date for you and Carly?
I'm asking you that question. When's the next date for you and Carly?
You. I know it's you. You got a date.
Calm your freaky down.
So the Yankees are winning 4-1. Judge hit another home run today.
Thank you for the update.
His 50th home run.
Thank you.
Hey, guess what? This Thursday is.
Are you going to tell us it's your birthday every day you call in on Thursday?
No.
Just this call?
Yeah.
So you won't bring up the fact it's your birthday on Thursday at any other point between now and then?
On Thursday, I will. Thursday.
What about Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday?
No. I got to bring it up to the good part.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm going to be on Friday. I'm going to be on 411 with the VR and Johnny Boy. Then I'm going to be in the next show on Thursday night. So I'm going to be a busy man this week.
The birthday tour?
Yeah. You're invited if you want to come on.
Thanks.
I want Neil to come on. He never comes on my show at all. And I miss King Lowski wherever he is. He never comes back on my show. Carly, where are you? Say hi. I want to see Ace. I love Ace too. You love her dog?
Calm your freaky down.
And I love Chloe too. How's Chloe doing?
She's good.
Yeah, I love your dog. She's so cute. You tried to put a bandana on her the other day and she didn't want
Yeah.
to.
She wasn't staying still.
Don't like to be put stuff on sometimes.
I see.
Cats don't either. Cats don't. You can't put anything cats on. That's me.
That's you.
All right, I guess so. Yeah, that looks like him. Okay.
That looks like you.
Yeah, with the gray hair. I guess I looked on the wrong guy. Yeah, that's New York City, right? In the subway.
It looks like it.
Oh, Bill. Oh, Bill's in the private chat. Say hi, Bill.
Mm-hmm. All right, Bobby. I'm going to go to him next. All right, you done?
Yeah, I'm all done.
All right. You have a good day, okay?
Yeah, you too.
All right, farewell.
Well, you know I love the Yankees and the Jets, and to read the super chats are more than just a hat. Bobby.
Thank you for that one, Bob. There was a question in the chat that I'll get to in a second. Plus, we have Bill coming up. But NY Cursor is a man of his word. He has gifted for the first time this show 5. That's right, 5 channel memberships, baby. Let's go.
Money, 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 money.
Here we go. If you hear your name called, you're a channel member. Dennis Z, Frankie Skills Machine, M. Lopez, Kaiser Reb, and Yeetus Deletus, all officially in Asmaniac. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There was a question from William Amelli. When's the next T-Square reunion, Jake? Well, Bill, I guess you just tuned in because it is official. Monday Night Football, Week 1, Jets, Niners. We will be at T-Squared Social. So RSVP with the link in the description. I posted it on Twitter, Instagram, and made a YouTube community post. It is a free event, Monday night, September 9th. Party starts at 7 p.m. Kickoff is at 8:15. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. See you there. Dark Knight Steve with a super chat. Baba Booey. Well done, Dark Knight Steve. A lot of people have said the Asmaniacs are like the whack pack. So I like that comp. All right. We got time for 2 more calls, and then we're done here. Bill has called in. Hello, Bill. I will see you at T-Squared, man.
Yeah, well, thank you for answering my question under my alias, William Amelli. Oh, I'm sorry. That's my real name. I'm sorry. Bill's the alias. How's it going?
We're living the dream, Bill.
Yep. What is the maximum on the practice squad? Is it 12 or 16 guys?
I think it's 16 now.
Okay.
Because they changed it a couple of years ago during the COVID year, and I think they left it.
Yeah. I love the amount of talent we have. It's too bad that not everyone can make the cut, but we should have a pretty decent looking practice squad that other teams might want to raid every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, they have more depth on this roster than any Jets roster since 2010 and even further than that. Like, it is a really, really good 53 they're going to have.
Yeah. Congratulations to all the new Asmaniacs and New York Cursor. Thank you for your contribution to make it all possible for them. And I am looking forward to the season. They looked awful good yesterday. And definitely Martinez could be the real deal. That'll be nice. And if Travis turns out to be anything like what the Jets imagined him to be, imagine that kind of younger talent available to for Aaron to pass the torch to.
Yeah, look, I don't see Martinez ever being the guy long term. I think he's earned a spot on the practice squad, though. I think Jordan Travis will be stashed on IR. Maybe he returned late in the year. He gave him some practice reps. But quarterback room is Rodgers and Tyrod, which is infinitely better than what they put on the field last year. No duh. Good call from Bill. We will see him in 2 weeks from tomorrow. Last chance to have a super chat read on the air. Our final caller is our guy, Keith Best. Keith, what do you got for us? Wrap it up for us. Keith. I think Keith fell asleep again. And his connection timed out. Well, no Keith Best. Hit the Keith Best emoji. Or Edgemo, as Keith would say. Let's see. Love Bites, Martinez, 2026. I mean, he might be on the team again next year. Make the preseason fun. He could be the Jets version of DeVito. Guy who's just going to be hanging out for a while. You're on the roster. Let's see. NY Cursor says T-Squared's a block from Grand Central in the Metro North. No reason to not make it. One of the reasons why I wanted to partner with them is because of the proximity to Grand Central Station. I wanted to pick a venue where people could come from Jersey, Long Island, Westchester, Connecticut, and easily get there. And that's T-Squared Social. Keith Best is called back in, so he will close us out. Keith, you're up next.
I don't know how to close you out after yesterday with cursing on your show with who you were out there with, whatever. But I have no clue sometimes how life works. And the Asmaniac side of me says, sign on here. And we were talking about Reddick yesterday, and I made some comments that probably no teenage kid could listen to, but it is what it is. I mean, if you're listening right now, I grew up in East Brunswick. You grew up in Camden. If you understand what I'm saying from the Jets Jersey lingo, get your ass in the friggin' camp. It's easier said than done. But, I don't have your payroll. I don't have what you have. I don't know what anything of that is like. But and my father taught me a long time ago, since I'm a little boy, if you want something, you have to go out and work to get it. And you have to show up for work. And I don't know if that's going to be on 20 million podcasts tonight or 10,000 Sports NBC, Sports CBS, whatever, Fox NBC, whatever. It doesn't make a difference. Show your ass up tomorrow. Show up. Because there'll be promises at the end for you that you wouldn't believe. And I think, and I only think, I made some bold predictions here. We're going to beat San Francisco in 2 weeks from now, 35-10. We are going to go 15-2. Now, are those bold predictions? I don't know if they're bold, if they're promises, or what have you. I just know that I've been going to Mets games since I'm a little boy at Shea. And there was this guy in a left field, and he held up this stupid sign, and it says, "You gotta believe." And I'm like, believe in what? Because I'm a little kid. I'm like, Daddy, what is that guy trying to point out to you? And boy, 60 years or 55, 60 years later, I know what that means today. You got to believe. And I stand strong where I say with you all the time that just trust the process. And number two, and a lot of you guys don't like this, but just trust Joe Douglas. And
Keith.
Joe,
Amen. Amen, Keith. He has built a hell of a team. Now they have to win. That's it. That's the bottom line. We gave you nearly a 2-hour stream on a Sunday. Thank you to everyone who tuned into the show. Once again, RSVP if you're coming out to the party of all parties. Week 1 and week 2 We'll talk more about week 2 after the Jets start 1-0. But, man, 2 chances to come out to a watch party. This one's going to be insane to start the year. Come watch the game with all of us. Monday night, September 9th. Party starts at 7. It's free. Just RSVP with the link in the description. Hit the like button on your way out of here. Thanks to all the calls. Couldn't have done it without you. All the super chats. Appreciate your support. We're back tomorrow. We got 2 shows planned. We'll have Dom C on with us in the morning. We'll have Glenn Naughton on with us in the afternoon. So we got an absolutely stacked guest lineup to kick off a new Monday. 14 days till the Jets and the Niners on Monday Night Football. Thanks again to everyone for their support. My name is Jake Asman. This has been the Jake Asman Show. I will talk to you guys soon. Jets. Jets, Jets, Jets.
Who was that lovely lady?
That was Carly.
Oh. Anyway.
Yep. Charles, I think we talked about you calling in and chewing on the air again. You couldn't wait till after your call to eat. You talk to me and then you eat.
Anyway,
this is a great angle for you, Charles. Even better angle. Where are you calling us from?
Burger King in Hope Lawn.
What did you get?
A BK Raw crispy sandwich with Swiss cheese on it. No tomato. About to finish up my fries. I'm about to have a slice of birthday cake.
Very nice. Charles, I think you should give all your takes from this angle moving forward.